Thank you
There
for
we
your
go.
patience, everybody. We can get started.
Thank you. Yeah, so welcome everyone to the Light Equipment Group meeting on the 17th of June. Welcome. Have you got any apologies for absence, Jocelyn?
There's a handful. I'll add them to the record.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Um, yeah, so you can see obviously we've got the agenda on the screen, so we'll flick to screen 2 if you don't mind, Jocelyn.
Yep, no
Slide
problem.
2.
There we go. I did it.
There we go. Great. Okay. So yeah, so we just wanted to make also a couple of introductions, a couple of new members to the group. So a welcome to Dynamic and to O House. So a couple of new supplier member companies. So a welcome to them, which is great. Ever growing group, which is brilliant. You will have received the actions of the last meeting. The last meeting was back in April, so you would have received those action points from the last from the last meeting. So yeah, just want to approve those. Has anybody got any questions or comments about that? Did you receive them? Okay. If you don't say anything, we'll approve them. Looks all good so far.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so we'll take those. We'll take those as approved. Thank you very much. Um, yeah, so obviously there's two really three main topics we want to go through today, which is a bit of a catch up for those that weren't at the last meeting on where we're at for the next Tabletop Trends live planning for 2027. Can I believe that I'm saying 2027 already? And then we're going to do obviously a review of the forum because we've had a lot going on within a short space of time at the beginning of the year. So we're going to review the forum. And then we'll move on to the newsletter, and then finally a little section, just a bit brief update on the BPA ban. So that's the format for today's meeting. I know we've scheduled this for 2 hours, but we'll probably get done in an hour and a half, I would think,
Yeah,
because we normally allocate 2 hours when it's an in-person meeting. So we should be done within an hour and a half.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, if we can move on to point 4, the tabletop trends live planning for 2027. So yeah, you'll remember obviously that we had the last event, which was in March of this year at Capital City College in the Vincent Room. So the agreed action plan from the last meeting was that we keep to the same venue for the next event in 2027. So I think we all enjoyed the fact that the Vincent Room provided a good venue. It was nice to be an industry-based venue as well within the college. So the plan is basically that we'll be going back to the same location and venue for 2027. The thing that we are looking at though is the timing for it, the dates. So we for this year's event, we were obviously in March, but there's a lot of other things going on around that time. Ambionte, Scott Hart, HRC, Nisbet's Live. There's a lot of events happening in March. So we're trying to pull the event forward a little bit earlier. So with Ambionte being right at the end of January, beginning of February for 2027, we could bring the event forward a little bit so that it falls after Ambionte, but still within an early March window, early February window, sorry. So we're looking at dates with the college at the moment as to whether that's possible to take the room in an early February date instead of a March date. Or alternatively, we could look at September. I think the only issue with the September date is that that would be a new intake of students at the college, and that might be a very busy time for them from a venue point of view. But Jocelyn's in discussion with Westminster College, or Capital City College, as I should call it, for then. So does anybody have any thoughts or comments about timing on that? That was what was agreed at the last group meeting, but just in case you weren't there and have any thoughts on that, appreciate your thoughts at this time.
Paula, you might have the dates wrong for Scott Hot because you've got it in March, but it's actually middle of February. So that could have an impact.
Okay, right. Okay.
I want to check that.
Right, okay, so mid-Feb for Scott Hop. Okay, we'll check that and obviously make sure that would work still.
Yeah, just adding it, Scott Hot is the 24th and 25th of February, and it's also the same time as the Lakes Hospitality Show that also takes place on exactly the same dates. And I think the Spring Fair is at the beginning of February as well. I think usually follows the week after Ambiente at the NEC in Birmingham.
Okay, all right, okay. So if we were a week later than that,
Yeah.
that would work, yeah? Does Spring Fair affect a lot of this you
I'm not
guys?
sure it does. I'm not sure it does anymore.
I don't think it does.
Okay, so Spring Fair is not the hurdle, but obviously we need to avoid those. We need to be before Scott Hot and the Lake Show.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a couple of weeks window there. So we're after Ambiente, but before the Scott Hot date. So that's ideally when it needs to be.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks for that. That's helpful.
Thank you. The format of the event, I think we'll keep. We decided last time we would keep the general format, which seemed to work largely, other than to make it more of a drop-in format, take away the timed sessions. The reason that we did timed sessions was just from an event planning point of view. We were really trying to understand how many people we were catering for at what time of the day. The session times were quite wide in terms of morning and afternoon, but from the last group meeting, it was felt that we should make it more of a drop-in format. We will still need people to register for the event because obviously we want to know who's attending and give us that footfall and visibility. But we can remove the time sessions so that they can just register to come along to the event. So that was some feedback from the last group meeting. Does anybody have any sort of thoughts or comments on that point as well? I'll take it, that's all okay. So the idea is that distributors can then attend all day at any point with their customers, give them a bit more flexibility to bring their customers along at any point during the 2 days. They've obviously got access to the lounge area, which I think really makes it a comfortable sort of working arrangement so that they can meet their customers, they can then tour the supplier stands, and we'll provide food and beverages throughout the day, as we did at the last event, so that whenever people are there, there'll be, like we did before, there'll be croissants and Danish pastries on arrival. There'll be tea and coffee throughout the day. There'll be lunch, there'll be afternoon tea. So there'll be a lot of food and beverage provided, which I think really worked well. And it's always a bit of a draw for people to come along. So other than obviously the great suppliers that they're going to see in the new products. So that would be the format of the event. In general, we'll obviously confirm a bit more detail once the planning is moving on. But just to really go through the initial sort of feedback and just those couple of changes moving forward for 2027. Any other thoughts or comments on that? No. Okay, fine. So we'll move through to obviously the forum and then the feedback from the forum. So switching over now to obviously the light equipment forum, which is more fresh in our minds, I guess. So just as a reminder, at the forum for this year, we had 23 supplier companies participating. We had 22 distributor companies participating. So that was the biggest event that we've ever done in terms of the number of supplier companies. A good mix of brands, lots of new products, a really good mix, and the distributor participation was a good mix of the larger nationals and the smaller ones as well. But we'll run through, which is going to take up the sort of majority of the time here, just to give you some feedback from the delegates, because we did a feedback, obviously, form for them to complete after the event. Some made specific emails as well. Which is really good. So really what we wanted to do was to share that feedback with you from the delegates, so that you can get an understanding of how they felt the event went, and then we can start to look at the planning for 2027. So if we could move on to the next slide, please, Jocelyn. I'm not going to read every single one of these out because we'll be here forever, but you can read it for yourselves on the screen because we've got a lot of feedback here. So we're just going to pick out some of the key thoughts and the feedback. I think the first one is worth reading out in general. Really appreciative in terms of obviously the thank for the whole team and the fantastic FEA forum. The hard work behind the scenes doesn't go unnoticed and appreciated for all who attended. As a concept, it works equally well for suppliers who must be exhausted and hoarse this morning. I think that was true. And the distributors. Taking time out of a business must always be considered, but seeing 22 suppliers singly would take many days, and how enjoyable it is to mix with people from both camps and who are passionate about what they do. So thank you again, and looking forward to seeing everyone next year. I think that was a really nice summary in terms of just a general feedback as well. The second one, as a newbie to the event, found it incredibly useful, insightful and informative, and gives a better understanding of who is who and each of the amazing suppliers has to offer. As I say, you can read all of these on the screen for yourselves. If we can skip to the next one, please, Jocelyn. I think you'll know who this is from their comment, but they were, well, obviously this is Henry, extremely touched to have received the Donald Byrd Award. I think the really nice comment in here is, I believe that he would have been delighted to have finally brought the FEA philosophy brought into the FEA philosophy over the last couple of years. Whilst taking a slice of the sales team off the road for 2 days is a significant investment in time, Brad, Phil and I are convinced that the benefit in terms of offering our customers a better, more rounded service far outweigh that cost. I think that's a fantastic credit to have, obviously Stevenson's in this case, on board, and they're really seeing the benefit of taking it, because it is a big decision to take your team off the road for a couple of days, but they're obviously seeing that really benefiting their sales team, which I think is fantastic, because we did spend a lot of time for many years trying to convince them to come along. So it's really nice that they're giving us the support for that. If we item 0.7 there, good layout for each supplier. Didn't feel it was too crowded with groups when moving around and having the trainings, meetings. Great selection of suppliers and variety of products. Good to see what is new and learning about the current trends. Some not so positive feedback was quite noisy, which we're aware of. But knowledge and helpfulness and products displayed was all positive. 0.9, room was too small and noisy. We'll talk about that in a little bit of a while. Struggle to hear at times, and I think others have said the same. But on a positive note, all the suppliers have put a lot of effort in, which was great to see. This person also really enjoyed the quiz in the evening. That seemed to be a big success. It was good fun. The food was good, with a major improvement over past years. I think overall the hotel did a good job, and there's lots of positive feedback on that. Keep doing what you're doing. It's great. Just make the room bigger, as it felt a little cramped. We'll be there next year and already looking forward to it. So all positive. 0.10, thought the quiz was a really great and got the table talking. So I think that was a good feedback for the entertainment. A good icebreaker for those that are a little shy or anxious. Would have been nice to have more room when moving around. So I think that the feedback overall is that the room feels a little bit too small. And that was reflected in the fact that we went from 18 supplier companies last year to 22 in the room, 23 overall. So as I say, it was the biggest event we've done, but the walls don't don't grow with us, unfortunately. So we're looking at options for that. Point 12, great room, well set out, great displays, good presentation of new products, great evening and good vibes, great room, clean, well thought out. Thanks for a lovely event, for all the hard work, great. And I thought it was just better. It was better than last, and I will continue to support this. So, as you can see, lots of good vibes. Point 13, or the feedback on 13, very noisy on the side wall, hard to hear the suppliers. Team quiz, superb, good location, central to the UK. Lunch was a bit slow, but good food. I'm just picking out key points here, otherwise it's a lot to get through. Very noisy. Once all the sessions had begun, was hard to hear some suppliers talking. Enjoyable but difficult to hear. Enjoyed the pub quiz. I thought this was interesting in point 15. I'd love to see some disposable suppliers, as I knew 12 out of 16 suppliers. So they're looking for some more disposable suppliers, which will be a point to note. 16 and 17, again, good space, but a bit noisy. And 18, the room felt a bit cramped with supplier displays, difficult to hear that when the suppliers say that had to say at times. A little bit slow on the bar service as well, but we've got that point coming through as well. Does anybody want to jump in at this point? We've got another slide or one more slide to go through, so I'll maybe just finish off on these points, and then we can go back and discuss some of them a little bit more closely. 19, it was a great room, but slightly on the small side. It was difficult to hear at times. Good mix of products, well presented and listened to our needs. DJ was on a losing battle, as 95% of the attendees left for the bar straight after the dinner and the quiz. Lovely hotel. Coffee wasn't great. Bar staff were good, but a bit slow, and only one person on the bar at times. It was slightly noisy, and it meant we needed to listen in. Fantastic mix of products on display. The quiz was great. The venue had improved their food from the last year. Communication issue with last orders at the bar, so there seems to be a lot of demand at the bar. Food for the banqueting was banqueting standard. So yeah, positive on the dinner. And finally, on point 21, good range of suppliers, but slightly cramped space. Great range of products shown, but could have had more space. Good product training overall. Event went quiet after the quiz. So I think from that, as I say, I didn't want to read absolutely every single word because there's a lot to go through, but I think overall there's some key points there. Would anybody like to jump in and ask some questions and give some thoughts from their side? We'll go through the supplier feedback separately, but just from a delegate point of view as to what you can see on the screen and what I've just read out, would anybody like to sort of make some feedback on that? Oh, you've all gone quiet.
It seems that from what I've seen of the supplier feedback, as it echoes the delegate feedback in quite a few things. So if you want to keep moving to supplier feedback, maybe then we can have chats after that.
We can do that. We can do that. So yeah, supplier feedback. I think, yeah, just looking through this, all very engaging, great to see a variety of nationals and independents. Felt this year was well attended, felt that the quality of distributors was a little bit lacking. Moving forward, Bunzl, Nisbets, we'd get them back to the event. In stock, Jackson's, Direct Tableware and Yates would also add something. So yeah, there are some independent distributors that are missing from the event, which would be great if we can get those to attend. A little bit disappointing that some of the sessions only had one attendee. Now that might be partly because some people were no shows at the event, or just how the sessions then panned out. However, overall, I'm planning to return next year, and will do my best to promote the event so we can hopefully achieve the 80+ delegate target. I think overall we had 74 registered. But obviously we had, which does happen, unfortunately, we had some dropouts at the time, but we had 74 registered pre-event. I've suggested that IG Group could bring more of their team along next year, like Stevenson's are attending large numbers. Maybe some deep thinking on middle-sized distributors and independent, how we get the middle-sized distributors and independents back. Attendance relied a lot upon Stevenson's Breaks and Alliance. So that was the sort of general feedback regarding the attendees. The next slide, we move on to the awards dinner. Unfortunately, and it's true, the disco ended up being a bit of a washout. I think having the disconnection between the bar and the event room, albeit only 10 yards, separated them. And maybe too much of a difference between the two things. Having a quiz and then to a DJ was too much of a difference. That was the feedback on that one. On the awards dinner, best presentation by supplier and most innovative new product is a suggestion of a new award that we could do. Now that we want to talk about that one because we have done that before, best new product, but it became a bit problematic when we had it before because not everybody is launching a new product at the event. So, but we can talk that through. Entertainment and dinner were also fantastic. Quiz was good fun and got us working together on the table. Venue and food. Lunch on the Tuesday was nice quality, but lacking in volume for some of us. I think that there was also a bit of a problem with queuing. Last year we had 2 hot stations, and I think that that needed to have happened again. And someone's requesting low alcohol drinks or no alcohol drinks next time round on the table. So again, we can look at that. That's all possible.
Yep.
So yeah, but overall on the food and the food was fine. Event room, I think it was rather cramped in the exhibition space, and the noise levels were not so good. Bit noisy at times. Only downside was the room felt smaller than I had expected and quite noisy at times. You had to raise your voice. Venue room was easily accessible on the Monday, but I do feel that the event was too noisy and loud. We need more room to spread out the suppliers. And I think the sort of final comment there on that slide is rotation of the delegates around the room could be done in a more circular fashion rather than so that it was more easy for them to move around and more quick for the delegates to move around, which is possible. We can do that next time. That might save a little bit of time, although I do think we kept us time pretty well this year.
Yes.
Overall thoughts from the suppliers. It was an excellent event. It has given us opportunity to develop alongside valuable contacts and establish new and refresh existing relationships. You covered a huge amount of ground and had many things to cover. However, you and your team did it professionally as always. It was a very enjoyable event, and we're working hard to follow up on the opportunities that came out of it as soon as possible. So that was a really nice summary. What a great event. My biggest negative is that I should have done it sooner. So thank you for that.
My favorite comment.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say that logistically, the event was very well organised. The venue and location were both excellent and incredibly effective and enjoyable. And the FEA team did an exceptional job in fostering a friendly and collaborative atmosphere, which I think is really true. So yeah, there's a lot to digest there. So I'm going to stop talking for a little while I'd really like to get some of your comments and feedback from the things that we've just sort of pointed out and questions. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I don't mind, Paula.
Thank you.
I think generally the feedback from a lot of the delegates was positive. I think most people were very engaged with what we had to show at the event. I'd agree totally with some of the comments that were made about the size of the room and the noise. Especially, it did seem to be quite noisy at times. But overall, it was a good event.
Thank you. That's good.
I can kind of put our bit towards it. It was our first time doing the LET. Me and Lee had a really, really positive experience. We've had great feedback and great sort of contacts with quite a lot of the people we met, during our time. We had no idea what to expect. Obviously, so the size of the room, we had nothing to kind of compare it to, and we didn't really know what people were expecting. But since then, Tom, our boss, has had really positive feedback by how me and Lee kind of handled the room and, the presentation that we put on. So we're really, pleased with that. We had to kind of get our voicing levels right just to make sure everyone could hear, but we didn't have any problems once we found that. So just, again, echoing the fact that we want to thank everyone for a great event we put on, because we've had really positive orders and connections with people off the back of that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you, Laura. That's really good to know as well, because it's always difficult when it's the first event. It's not the first event for the forum, because it's a 21st year now. So but it is growing. So it's good that you've had that positive event. That's really good.
I'll jump in if I can as a newbie as well. I thought it was really good. I was a bit the same as Laura, not sure what to expect, but I felt part of the family, so to speak, when I got there. People, the suppliers, talking to one another. I agree with the comments with regards to the noise level, which was in some points quite tricky. You did have to raise your voice quite a bit, but the fallout from it has been really, really good. A lot of positive that's come out of it from my side, both from engagement with the sales teams of Stevenson's, for example, as well as a couple of distributors that have said, I want to get on board with your product. So I'm really pleased with the overall, and that's why I've said I'm going to come back next year. I think the only thing I'd give as a negative wasn't to do with FEA. The team, the team was fantastic. I think the hotel let you down a little bit. They didn't seem to be giving you much attention, with very few people at the bar, and it just felt to me like you had to do all the work, and the hotel wasn't really doing a great deal or putting that much effort in to make sure that the delegates were getting the coffees and things like that. That was just an observation. I thought the organisation was great, the FEA was great, the event was great, albeit it was a bit cramped, but I just felt the hotel could have been a little bit more helpful to you, in my opinion. But other than that, brilliant.
Thank you, Paul. That's really useful. It's really useful to hear from the ones that have been new to the event, so it's fresh eyes on it. So anybody that's not so new to the party want to comment? No? Steve? Nick?
I wasn't really there, Paula, on the rotation, so I can't really comment on those, but it's the same problem every year with the noise levels. Obviously, the room is a little bit small. I think if we stick at that venue, you could look at moving. Obviously, there were 2 coffee areas. You could look at using the second one maybe as a separate room to put some people in there. It doesn't matter really. It's not an exhibition. It's a table rotation, so you're going to see everybody. So it doesn't matter if there's 7 or 8 suppliers in one area and everybody else in another. So that could be an option to reduce the amount of people in the main room, which would then reduce the noise level. So that would be my only comment. Everything else seemed to go great. Everybody's comments were very positive, suppliers and delegates. So yeah, we were very happy with the results.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. Nick?
Yeah, I'd echo that with Steve. I think the only thing I would say is we need like I say, a bigger space, but it'd be good to get more rounded partners within the industry to make it a true event, because I think it's running a bit thin now who's getting the awards, because it's going around in circles. But yeah, in general, yeah, very good.
Okay.
I think we need to look at
Gareth?
more medium-sized distributors. We're relying on the big boys too much, and it's the same people every year doing the same things. I know it's difficult. I mean, Henry highlighted it. Taking people off the road these days is a cost, and when you're a smaller business and you're independent, that's difficult enough as it is. But we've got to make it attractive to them as well. You know, we've got a job to do to sell, and we're seeing nationals who have deals tied up elsewhere anyway, and we can't make an impact. But yeah, it's great people see our stuff, and as always, I'll always support you guys. I've done it on both sides of the fence for 20 years. But I think in line with what Nick and Steve said, yeah, bigger room, less noise, more people, and a wider breadth of distributor attendance, I think is the best way to put it.
Any thoughts on how we get those middle-sized distributors to the event?
I don't know what we can do, because I mean, I just sell it to everybody that, you know, I've done it for that long, how great the event is, how many people go. It's free. You know, it's free. We're supporting it. It's a business decision by the owner and the operator. I don't know how you get past that, whether you just do a mass media exercise or marketing and, you know, just market it to death for the 12 months prior. You can't leave it till 3 months before. It's got to be, you know, it's got to be in their minds for quite a while before it comes up, because they can't just afford to say, all right, next week I'm going to FEA. See you later, everybody. They've got to know that in 6 months, in 3 months, in 1 month, they're going to be there. We've got to sell the benefits of it.
I think, you know, my thoughts are like Gareth, is that we need to make it the industry awards, like the Katies, because with respect, I had the guy from Scott Hot come and talk to me. He's been chasing me. He had nothing to offer. Okay. And now I'm potentially going, along with, I noticed the list of manufacturers are now going to go into Scott Hot, and Scott Hot came up in our initial conversations that we have to avoid it. So we're almost a victim of our own success, because other people are doing the same. Lockhart's, the reason why Brakes didn't have many people there, because they didn't, so not Brakes, Bunzl Group, is that they have their own events now. I mean, it was the first time ever Di Kennett wasn't there, and that shows you what's happening there. But it's how we turn it into the industry, make it the industry awards, and how we. It's that $1 million question: how we get people there. And yes, I listened to the point. Let's have a bit of variety. Let's have some disposable people there. Let's have the world is about. We know what's going on with, you know, greener, the BPA, and all things like that. Let's get those. Let's get some people there that they want to talk to as well. So we get them as a draw. That's the only way we can do it. We have to offer a carrot, I'm afraid.
Is there no way we can? I mean, I noticed that as well. There was the Cater Bar event that happened immediately the next day.
Yeah.
And I think I started to think, why do we not approach the likes of some, not necessarily Cater Bar, but Jangro, Socius Network, with some kind of poll to get some of those members, the likes of Cibron and other small, medium-sized distributors, to come to the event. Whether, you know, I don't know how that can happen, how that would work, whether they could have a conference of their own that's tied to it. I'm not sure, but I thought to myself, some of these are part of groups. Do you approach the group to say we'll do some kind of deal? I don't know, that draws those members in to the event, because it was clear that, yeah, Cater Bar was literally the next day.
They have been approached in the past. We have been down that road in the past, and we have approached Cater Bar on several occasions. But they've never come back and wanted to engage more collaboratively on tying the two things together. But it's logical that Cater Bar members should be there. More Cater Bar members should be attending the forum. That's logical. But on a more formal basis, and Jocelyn will correct me, but over the years I know that we've approached them. But yeah, they've never wanted to have any sort of formal agreement. I think they want to be seen to be independent, but there's no reason, and they should be attending the forum. I think it's just about the timing of the event, obviously just before. But maybe now that that Stevenson's are obviously completely engaged with our event, that might help to promote it from the inside out, basically, and we just need to maximise on that with with Henry and the team's support there. I think will help us tremendously. And that comment that he made is great. But yes, you're absolutely right. Any of those groups should be attending the event, but it needs to be the industry event, as Nick was just saying, that they want to be at. They're having their own event is for them, but this needs to be the industry event. And I think
we also got to be careful, Paula, as well. Sorry to cross over, is that we keep it fresh, which you have been doing, and I'm a strong advocate of it, because let's say it's not fresh next year, and Stevenson's then decide not to come, it has the opposite effect.
Absolutely, yes, and that's why those middle-sized distributors are key. But if the smaller ones can make the time to come along, then there's no real reason why the middle-sized ones can't. You know, they don't have to send their whole team every year. They could mix that.
I think going forward, it was just like what we heard a lot of is, even from sort of the smaller independents, was that the time it would take to see 22 companies over the space of however many months or the year, we maybe need to push that narrative that, okay, it's 2 days, but over those 2 days, what are the benefits of, sort of put an equivalent of how many hours would you be spending if you were going to see all those 22 people individually. We obviously came into it a little bit late, but we would definitely for next year kind of push to, all our distributors. We deal from independents right the way up to national accounts, and we would sort of really push on all our social media platforms. And I think it'd be good to get, the younger generation involved. I know Lee, one of my colleagues, is involved with Next Gen, just sort of getting their advice and, like you say, keeping it fresh, keeping it new. We're already thinking, right, what can we bring next year, to the table? And I just think it's kind of get that drive of it being exciting and an event that like we keep saying, an event that everybody wants to go to and looks forward to.
I think that's an excellent point about Next Gen. It's something that I'd been thinking about anyway, and we've sort of started to have some discussions around that, because yes, we do want to have that engagement with the Next Gen. It's a logical add-on to have something more specific about that at the event. So again, that's all part of starting to plan for next year. Jocelyn, did you have any thought on that?
Yeah, so back to the Cater Bar situation is that we can only, we tell Cater Bar is aware of when we have our events. We don't have any control over when they organize theirs. So, but again, we'll alert them. We already know the dates for next year, so we can alert them, and hopefully they don't arrange it in the same week as the forum. But in terms of working with them collaborative, like Paula said, we've not had any success with them joining forces, which is fine. They're a completely separate entity. There's no need for them to do that, other than let's try to avoid having our events in the same week. And yes, I really like your point there, Laura, on Next Gen. I think that's great. If we can work with Next Gen, even to see if we can arrange something that's around the same time as our event, have an event, a Next Gen event, either on the Monday or the Wednesday, kind of combine forces with Next Gen. That'd be an idea anyway. We'll see what they say. So just to wrap up on that one is that we have signed the contract to go back to the Oxford Belfry for 2027. And it will be the 17th, 18th, 19th of May. So Monday set up and so on. And we do take on board all the points regarding the noisiness of the room, and I'm working with the hotel on how we can solve that issue. Exactly what Steve said earlier, moving some of the folks out of the room, keeping, of course, we get to keep the majority of the tables in the room because that's closed down at the end of the day. It will mean a little bit of flexibility on some suppliers where if we have suppliers like O House did, if they're in an open area in the evening, we would need to kind of roll the tables away and kind of clean up so that we have that other room for our dinner. But we're working with logistics on the hotel on how to reduce the noise, meaning less companies in the big room and have us spaced out a bit more. But it certainly is possible. But yeah, we're working now to make sure that next year is sorted for the noise side of things.
Yeah, I think it's just a bit of a challenge because obviously the second room that we have is already set for dinner because we have to build the stage and there's a lot of stuff that's going on ready for the evening. But we can take that section, that first section of the room which we had for the coffee area, and that's what Jocelyn's working through with the hotel. But it does mean that those supplier companies will need to, we'll need to move them and for the dinner period. So it's because there's just not the space to do anything else, basically. But it is a solution, and the hotel have been accommodating to discuss those options and look at those options with Jocelyn. So that will help if we can move maybe 5 or 6 supplier companies into a second area. I think that will help because we'll be back to that would give us back to the same sort of level of stands that we had previously, which didn't seem to be as much of an issue then. So I think that's the solution certainly for 2027. But if we keep growing the way we're going, we'll need a bigger venue for 2028. So
Yeah,
which is
2028, we'll have to look at completely, also in terms of timing, how do we make this event completely different? But for 2027, we're going to do the same sort of style with our 22 suppliers, 23 suppliers.
brilliant. Okay. Any other thoughts? Chris, I'm going to pick on you because you were a newbie at the event as well. I can't see you on the screen, but I can see you've just taken your mic off. So maybe if you don't mind just giving your thoughts on it as well.
Yeah, no, thanks, Paula. Good morning, everyone. Echo everything really that's been said. I think WMF newbie, first time at the event. Initial concerns leading in were a lot of the distributors we were already working with, so it's echoing, attracting the middle ground, the smaller. So I agree with that. I think coming out of it, it was really successful. Being the first time we had WMF on show in the UK for many, many years. So I've got some figures here that I took just afterwards and the last few weeks. 30% of the distributors that attended requested head office visits for us. We had 70% of the visitors requested data, digital catalogs, information. We signed up 25%. There's training days across 25% of the attendees. And our new sort of products that we brought to the event, 50% of the distributors were working with them on that. So it was really successful being a first showcase for WMF. Really interesting discussion, hearing feedback from fellow suppliers. I think the questions are next year how different we can make it, what I can bring that's different to be at the event, the business, attendees, the type, everything that's being discussed really, to keep it moving forward and keep it attractive. So yeah, but overall, it was fantastic. FEA, great event, great support. It was easy access. It was a great few days for us, and it was a great platform for WMF to launch back into the UK.
Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, no, it's good. Good to get the feedback. So, anybody else that I haven't already picked on, or just wants to chip in at this point?
Yeah. Can I say something?
Yeah, of course, Richard. Yeah.
Going back to the distributor type, I agree. Yes, there are plenty more distributors out there who I think could benefit from it. And funnily enough, there was two of them, and one comment was the what, and then the what show, and then the other comment was, yeah, I did see something about that, but I never got around to sorting it out. So maybe it's just something that perhaps we need to be more involved in. I mean, I will hold my hands up and say, because I only got personally involved in it in the last kind of few weeks, then I didn't put as much effort behind telling people about it as I should have done. However, now for next year, I will definitely be putting more effort into it and trying to persuade other people to come, particularly as both of those people then turned around and said, oh yeah, that sounds like a really should do that. So they kind of convince themselves that it would be a good idea. And I just think, well, if I can half-heartedly try twice and get theoretically 2 ticks, what happens if I put a bit more effort into it, kind of thing. And I think because we are relatively new, and we've also recently only just got a new marketing lady who understands technology, Paul. Unlike me, who doesn't. She knows how to work this stuff. She can push things out bigger and better and easier and quicker than I can imagine. So hopefully that will help with the range of people as well.
Yeah, precisely that, Richard. You've hit the nail on the head there. That from the FEA side, our marketing manager produces the collateral for you all to use, sends it over so that you have the ability to spread it out to your contacts. We send it out to our contacts, those who the Tabletop Trends newsletter gets to. We do a lot on social media to try to promote it. But the conversations you're having on a daily basis with these guys is really, really key, because they do say things like the light equipment forum, what is that? And that way your conversations clear that up for them. So it's not just another email from the FEA, who are those old fogey. So yeah, 100%. We really stand by the fact that the suppliers' interaction with the distributors is what gets them there. Yeah. More than any email from FEA.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that's absolutely right. I think the problem with sending out emails and seeing emails and putting a thing on the bottom of an email is it's very easily missed or overlooked, or particularly we all get so many emails nowadays, we kind of speed read the top 2 lines and ignore the rest, kind of thing. So to have an advert for the FEA thing on the bottom, guess what? 90% of people are going to miss it. So again, that's why I will definitely hold my hands up and say, I could have put more effort into it now understanding it. And also, again, going back to what the lady said, Laura, I think it was earlier, we didn't really know what to expect being the first time thing. I've done many of these kind of things in the past, but I've never done anything for the FEA. So I didn't really know what to expect. Now it's a lot easier for me to sit here and say, I had a great time because.
Yeah.
So next year, I promise I'll put more effort in.
We'll hold you to it, Richard.
Please do.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah, I think that we should be the biggest advocates for our own event. And you're quite right. Sometimes these things can get missed. It doesn't matter how much marketing communication we do. Obviously, that is gonna have an effect as well. But it's also got to be a mix, and those personal relationships and conversations. It's something you can talk about throughout the year, because it's not just that, the light equipment group is not just about the forum. It is about the fact that we've now got the newsletter that's going out on a quarterly basis. We've now got the live event. We're not just about just the forum. And maybe that does take a little bit of explanation as well, because we've got 2 events now in the year. and the differential between the two. One is for them to bring their customers to. The other is obviously a full-on distributor training event. But I think once people have attended, they sort of just go, "Why didn't I attend to this before?" It's free to attend, as Gareth pointed out. It's the vibe in the room, being part of a community of people that are selling, like-minded people, and sharing experiences and sharing that time together. It always has a really good vibe about it, and I think that's something that we can build on that. There will be there was videos done of the event this year. There interviews done as well. So there will be a package of marketing communication stuff post event that will be used, and if we can use those things as well individually to show people in a very quick video as well. This is what you're missing out on, guys. Please come along. We want you to be there. We want to show you the new products. These are great for your customers. So I think it's just about us all being advocates of the event and any of the things that we do now as a group throughout the year. There's all positive things that you can be offering your customer base. So
I think the video that you did, I think it was of the previous LET, was something that I looked at, and that stimulated me to really think about being there, because it showed really the engagement of all the different suppliers with different people, and I thought that was really good. And I think if you put something together like that, and most definitely get that testimony of Henry Stevenson, because I think that's the biggest concern to people, which is I'm taking either myself or my team off the road whilst this is happening. This has got to be a worthwhile investment. And I think with that testimony that you've got from him, and people look to him from his position at Stevenson's, Cater Bar, etc., it's the perfect testimony to really shout that out a little bit more, that it is worth the investment to go to it. But I also think we also have to push that as well to our distributor partners, to tell them what they're missing and show it them with a short video, for example.
You can get a lot of information across in a very short video, can't you? Much more so than just an email.
Absolutely.
They're good points. They're really good points. And and also just thinking for next year and the next gen side of things. We need to develop that thinking, because we want to get that younger generation engaged as well. Although I do feel that there's always a good mix of ages through the sales teams with the ones that attend and the delegates. So, but yeah, if we can add something else into the awards, maybe just touching on the awards as well. I think that's a really key point for the event. And we've got the one award that we did last year, but unfortunately we didn't really get enough engagement for this year to be able to award it. And I think that there's a little bit of not misunderstanding, I think, is that we had a Project of the Year award last year. And that's because if you think about the awards that we give out at the event, they are awards that we as suppliers are giving to distributor, large, group, independent, salesperson of the year. They're all awards from our side to them. And the idea of the project award was for them to put forward a project which they'd done during the year. And it's a bit like in other trade associations, like CEDA, for example, they have a Grand Prix award, and they will put projects forward to basically win awards for. Now, they're projects that are done, they're completed, so there's no real fear in terms of commercialization. Steve, thank you. Nice to see you. But we didn't get enough engagement of people completing for that award, which I think was a real shame, because it's a way of them basically highlighting that they've met all the criteria, they've got a very happy customer at the end of that process, and we can award them for that. So a little bit more engagement on that would be great, and maybe that just needs, again, more of an explanation from our side to say these are the things that you can put yourselves forward for. Because everyone likes to be awarded, and they could easily put themselves forward for that. We can add something else into the mix of awards as well, maybe that recognises some of the next gen side of things, upcoming people within, maybe they're relatively new into the industry, but they could be a rising star, for example. That could be something else that the distributors could be awarded for, maybe a rising star. I don't know, Laura, whether that would sort of fit with what you were thinking, but maybe a rising star.
Yeah, I think anything just to sort of gain a little bit of traction for, new people in the industry and give them a bit of a shout out and, let them know what a great industry it is to be part of. I think it just acknowledges, anyone new to the industry doing well. I think anything that shows next gen that we can all kind of combine together, and we're excited to kind of give them any advice. And, I'm, in the grand scheme of things, some people here saying 20 years in the industry, relatively new, sort of coming into sort of 4 or 5 years in the industry. But I think it's just a great industry to be a part of. And if we can get the next gen involved, I think it'd make a massive difference. I know Lee's keen to kind of get that side sorted.
I've got one, Paula. I'm back on. I managed to get the internet working again.
All right, go for it.
How about this one then? I might have missed it, but we always talk about end users, we always talk about operators, and we sell to partners. Partners sell to them, okay? And then there's a bridge that needs to be reached across. Why don't we go from our point of view? We vote for the best national operator restaurant chain of the year and the most innovative up and coming. So what we then do is we involve the other side of the industry, and we potentially get, I don't know, the last success story. The success story at this moment in time, or the last 3 years, is lounges, okay? And it may be that somebody's doing something in the national chain with food distribution or new menus, or with all the new cultures and tastes and things. By getting someone like that there, okay, and if they sent a representative, it might entice some other distributors to join because they want to talk to them.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
so we're bridging that gap.
Do you feel like it should be part of the forum, or is that something that should be part of the live event? Because that's obviously where end users are.
Either or, Paula. I just think either or to work to our advantage. It's obviously going to be it's making that initial leap and that connection, but we all recommend national and regional partners. Why don't we recommend success stories that we've had, with similar operators from a operator point of view? You don't need to have sold them any product, but there's somebody that you're aspire to be doing business with or currently doing business with.
Okay, I think that would fit certainly for the live event, because that's end user focused, and obviously the encouragement. That's the whole reason we started that new event, was so that we could keep that differential between the end user and. We want the distributors to come to our live event because we want them to bring the end user customers with them. But it's more of I think it would fit definitely with the Tabletop Trends Live, and we can add in other awards into the forum, recognising maybe the rising star. But great point. There does need to be more of a link there to the final customer, to the end user customer, because overall we're valuing the FEA as an independent organisation, and it should be the home of the food service equipment. It is, and so there should be that engagement with the end user, the final customer.
Could be heavy equipment they've invested in, state of the art investment. Because all this in the current climate we currently all trade in, investment is very tough, and it's just there's operators that are making that leap of faith, and if you've got a product that they're interested in or you can sell them, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that's it links well with obviously the newsletter. The newsletter could be read as well by by end users. Eric, thank you very much. Nice to see you. Yes, definitely more links to end users, I think is a definite good direction for us to be in, and I think that will give value again to the other distributors and engagement. That's a really good shout. Thank you, Nick.
Okay.
Which I think leads us on to probably the newsletter on the agenda, Jocelyn. So obviously forum feedback and planning. So yeah, item 7 is Tabletop Trends newsletter. So the last newsletter, which went out early May, was obviously a focus obviously on the forum and booking places and so forth. And there was a feature there on food prep and shape shifting plates, not easy to say. Review of the Tabletop Trends live event, BPA van and Ambiente. So that was the mix of the last newsletter, what was in there. The next newsletter is scheduled for July, August. So the subjects for that coming up are the 10 trends from the LET forum. So a bit of a sort of summary, if you like, of the trends from the forum. The product launches, again, from the LET forum. And then there's 2 editorial submission parts. You'll have got this, you'll be getting, or you've got this. I'm not sure, Jocelyn, if that's gone out yet. It has just gone out, hasn't it?
It has yesterday.
Okay, yeah. Well, so the first article is on cost-saving equipment. Now, cost-saving is obviously always a topic for all operators. Equipment that have helped operators reduce their running costs. So have a think about what you can submit in terms of cost-saving equipment. It's quite broad there. We're not, any kind of cost-saving equipment that you want to enter into that, you can. And then the second article is a bit more focused, which is punchy patterns and zappy colours. Tableware for front of house equipment are designed to catch the eye. So we've got one that's, I think we can all probably find a cost-saving piece of equipment that we can enter for that editorial submission. And the second one, if you've got a punchy pattern and zappy colour, you can enter for that one. So we always like to mix things up.
Yeah. That one also has a deadline of 1st of July. So both of them are 1st of July.
Okay, so we've got a couple of weeks on that, but if it's not you that's writing it, make sure your marketing team or your PR agency is aware. If there's other people that should be copied in, if you're getting it and you want other people to be copied in on that email, please let Jocelyn know.
Yes.
It needs to be hitting the right desk for this content to be entered. But it's a great way of getting your message out, continuing to get message out about new products and what you've got going on. Obviously, it's free for you to put that editorial in, and it's going out to how many now, Jocelyn?
It's over 1,000. I'd have to check the actual number.
It's definitely over 1,000.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, just make sure that you find that email from only yesterday. Shouldn't be too far down the inbox. And as I say, if it's not for you, if you're not the one that's going to be writing it, please pass it on to your marketing team. But please let Jocelyn know if there's other people that should be receiving that, so that they're getting it in good time. So that continues our sort of Tabletop Trends newsletter. So you've got that focus now for July and August, and obviously we'll be working on the future ones as we go through the year.
Yeah.
If anybody's got any suggestions on other topics, please do let us know. If there's something you feel we're missing, please raise it. We're always listening. We're here to listen to what you as the group want. A couple of things that came up from the last meeting were, I think, is this on the next slide, Jocelyn?
The videos, yes.
Yeah, one was a suggestion that not everybody has, but a lot of us have got showrooms. And as we were just saying a little bit before, you can get a lot of information across in a very short space of time if you do it as a video. So if you've got a showroom, this is a really good way of signposting people to that. they can be, our showrooms are probably all over the country. But what we've done is we've put together this little short format, because I think some of us are great with this sort of thing, and some of us are a bit technophobes. I know I am a little bit, in terms of how we go about it. We're not asking you to be full on, video professionals here, but what we're looking for is some content for showroom videos. So here's a little rough guide of little checklist of what you can do. Film everything in landscape, avoid noisy areas while taking the shots. We're only asking you to film on an iPhone or smartphone. It's fine. We're not asking you to, invest in getting a video done with an outside agency. This is something we want to make. We want you to keep us informed, and so we can use this content for the newsletter. So use your smartphone and your iPhone. You don't need an external mic or a fancy camera. You can use your phone. Ideally, have one person doing the filming and another company representative on the camera. So film it as if the person's visiting the showroom. So there's the filming guide here, sort of explains that. Film the representative from the company explaining the showroom to the camera. Treat the camera like a customer. Include your name and the company role. And then provide basic showroom guide and overview. We want this to be short, no longer than 3 to 4 minutes. This will be edited by Publicity Works, who are the PR agency for FEA. So they will edit it to make sure that it all fits into the format that we want for the newsletter. Don't painstakingly talk about all the new features and benefits of every single item. But this is an introduction to the fact that you've got a showroom, who you are, where your showroom is, what people can expect to see when they come along to see you. Then you can get into the features and benefits of every single item. This is really just to signpost people to the fact that you have a showroom. Don't even worry if you lose your train of thought or you make mistakes. They can be edited out, and the team at Publicity Works are very used to doing all of this kind of stuff. Make it personal to you and your company. The aim is for the content to be fun and engaging, and a little bit informal. You can go as crazy as you want within reason, but make it informal, make it engaging. Do some B-roll, what they call B-roll of the showroom. So include some close-up shots and various products of display, wide shots of entire displays depicting the various products that can be seen in the showroom, and main establishing shots, including shots of the showroom from both the inside and the outside if possible, and shots of staff interacting, working if possible. So you can see there, we've given you a filming guide. We're only looking for 3 or 4 minutes. The editing will be done by the team, but it's a great way of you being able to promote the fact that you have a showroom, just to say, this is what you can expect to see when you come to visit us. And basically all you need to do is upload that footage and a company logo via a file sharing service like WeTransfer or Dropbox, etc., and send the download link to Callum at Publicity Works, and then he will do everything from that point forward. So it's a new thing we've not done before, but I think it just comes back to the point, as we were saying. Thank you, Miles, for attending. I know you've got to leave, so thank you. But yeah, something else that we're adding into the newsletter as a new feature. So anybody got any questions on showroom videos?
I'll include all of this in the actions, everybody, so you don't have to scribble everything down. This will be in the actions.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jocelyn. The other thing that came up as well from the last meeting was any kind of sort of sustainability kind of topic. So we're always going to try and feature something on sustainability as well, because it's an ongoing topic. We can all, like we've just done in the newsletter that we're preparing next, that money saving, energy saving, all of those things, cost savings. I think in the current climate, the more we can highlight cost savings for people about our products, the better. So a little balance there between something that's going to be regular and then a new thing, which is the showroom video feature as well. Any questions on that, anyone? If you haven't got a showroom, by the way, then, you know, there's plenty of other features on different topics for products and so forth. So, but if you have got a showroom, then there's something new as well. I think we're at point 8, Jocelyn.
Yes, indeed. So on the BPA.
Okay, so BPA, the story so far. So these are slides that Luke Slater from the FEA, the technical director for the FEA, has prepared. So he's just giving a little bit of a story so far. We talked about this a little bit at the last group meeting, and obviously I know that this is particularly important for a number of the group supplier companies. I think really, if you have got any questions, you know, Luke is there. He's the technical director. He's very much engaged with all of what's happening and keeping really across this topic. So if any of the group have got questions, please reach out to Luke. He is there to support you with any questions that you may have on it. But really, we wanted to just give you a little bit of a summary of where we're at the story so far. And then on the next slides, really, the next slide's a little bit scary. I'm glad Luke understands all of this. But it does give you a sort of summary of what's been happening and the legal position.
And again, I'll include these slides in the actions.
Thank you. Not going to run through all of this at the moment because conscious of time, but really to give you on the next slide, the real point of bringing this to your attention again is that there was a date of July 2026 as being a deadline date. That is no longer the case. So the reassuring factor here is that deadline isn't there anymore. I think it shows that on the next slide, doesn't it?
Yes.
So the ban of BPA with food contact materials for sale in the UK will no longer enter force on the 20th of July 2026, including transitional periods. So that's the big relief, if you like, that we're not approaching a cliff edge of a date. And we're just really sort of pointing you to a FEA technical note that was sent out by Luke on the 30th of April. The information contained in that is still valid. But the next point, we're waiting for further updates from various different FSA, DEFRA and government regarding the legislation and the introduction on this topic. And then the final slide on this is really just to say, it will happen. It will happen. And what we need to be aware of as supplier companies is we need to be preparing for when that does happen. So the message from Luke is very, very clear. Whilst it's great that we've not got this cliff edge date of July, be getting yourselves prepared that when the EU do bring this legislation in, the UK will quickly follow. And we don't know when that's going. Currently, we don't know when that's going to be, but we do need to be preparing for it. And if any of the supplier companies attending this meeting need help with any of that, please reach out to Luke. He's across this. He knows exactly what's happening and he's very engaged with it. So please reach out to Luke if you've got any questions. Anybody got any thoughts on that currently?
If you missed the technical note from Luke on the 30th of April, in the actions, I'll include the link so that you can have a look at that again.
Thanks, Jocelyn.
I can just say Luke's been really helpful to us, to be fair. As a small business in the UK with obviously the management is overseas. He's been really helpful in keeping us abreast of everything that's going on. So I would recommend people speak to him if they've got any questions.
Thanks, Gareth. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, so the next part of the agenda is state of play. Now, this part is not minuted. This is really just to talk as a group, how you think things are, how's the year going so far, any concerns or anything that you want to share with the group. I'm going to pick on people that have attended